Cool. So hi everyone, my name is Jenny and I'm the founder and CEO of SnapTech. So primarily I'm a company founder, but I think more importantly I am a software engineer. In the past it used to sound like you're admitting to be an alcoholic, but I am a computer scientist. This means that I'm horribly unhealthily obsessed by visual search and discovery. So I studied for my master's degree in computer science way back in 2008, 2009. So I've been doing content-based image retrieval systems for 10 years. So I'm now just weirdly looking like a slightly greying 12-year-old, but I'm hoping aging works for me relatively soon. So today I will take you through what I do as a company founder and then move swiftly on to the future of search. My top tip, my first prediction, is that Google's speaking after me, so you might find out a bit more in that talk as well. So what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I founded SnapTech 6 years ago, and what we are is a visual search engine for fashion. So the idea is you can take any image, be that an editorial image, something you've just taken a photo of on your mobile phone, a flat lay image on a retail site, and use that as a stimulus for a visual search. So from that starting image, you can see everything similar based on color, based on shape, and based on texture. So it's a really nice wordless way of getting someone from their source of inspiration right through to products that they want to find. So since launching the system, we've had around 2 million snaps. We deliver a conversion uplift of over a third for our retail partners when things are sold out. We increase dwell time by 100%, and we work with publishers around monetizing editorial content. We can search over 1 million items in under half a second. And this is my next slide. So I thought I'd run you through a quick demo. Normally I do a live demo, but I'm nervous enough as it is today, so I'll just talk you through. But you can go to the website, it's real, I promise. So I'm not sure about you, I've had a million wedding invites this summer, so I've had to buy loads of different outfits. So this scenario is I'm looking for the perfect wedding dress, and this will make sense in the future. So here you can see I've gone to a website, it's sold out. So instead of leaving, having to go to a competitor's website and have a look, I can say, show me something similar, and instantly you can see similar based on color and texture. So we look at things like densities of patterns, colorways, and then based on shape. And this is what makes this really different. This is our secret sauce. So we look at things like neckline, hemline, where it goes in at the waist, sleeves, and this is a blend of machine learning and mathematical heuristics. And that layer of human knowledge is really what sets us apart from the traditional machine learning. So it's not just a website. We've got a mobile app where you can basically take a photo of anything. It's like having a personal stylist in your pocket. And we've also built this technology behind magic mirrors. Without cameras, I hasten to add, I'm not that creepy. But basically, you can take in an item, and then we can show you similar things if you try something on and it's not right for you. And the reason I'm showing you all of this isn't a horrible sales pitch. It's kind of to explain where I see the future of search going. If I had £1 for every investor who had told me just to focus on mobile, I probably wouldn't have had to give up equity in my company. People seem to be very, very driven down this mobile is key. And just like Martin said from Facebook earlier, it's where everyone's spending their time. But when it comes to search, I don't believe that the future of search is wedded to one platform. It has to be pervasive in all of our lives, and we're beginning to see that beginning to come to light at the moment. So, Wired asked me to talk about how customers can really get what they're looking for. If you take away the threatening edge to that talk, I can kind of begin to tell you a bit about where I think search is going in this retail space. And I'm breaking this sentence down into two places. So, how customers can really get what they're looking for. And this is this kind of psychological bit to fashion. So, there's so many reasons why you might want to go shopping. I've got a hole in my trousers. I really hope I don't, actually. But when you do, you're like, right, I just need something quickly and I need it now and it needs to be quite cheap. Then you've got, I really need a horrible purple bridesmaid dress because I've just been mandated this. I don't want to spend too much, but it kind of needs to be perfect. You've got, I've had a really bad day at work. I deserve a treat. I swear my sister already has a bag like this, but I kind of wanted to buy her a present. What can I get for her? There are all these different ways of shopping. And all of this is contained in our head, obviously not in the computer. So then you've got the people who are just bored and scrolling, which is the wonderful Instagram way of kind of discovering products. So if you think about this, this is actually a hugely complex problem, because your computer isn't psychic yet. I'm sure it will be in about 20 years' time, but for the moment, it doesn't know what you're thinking. And if you take this a step back, if you look at visual search, for instance, people normally ask me, hey, can it tell the difference between satin and silk? And it's like, well, the information the computer's getting is exactly the same information as a human eye is getting. And if you're standing in front of someone's top, will you be able to tell me if it's satin or silk? Definitely not. It's just a bunch of pixels. And contextual awareness is the bane of any computer scientist's life, because as human beings, we have this amazing brain power where we can easily interpret all of the signals around us and build it into logical conclusions. Whereas to a computer, it's data, it's noise. There's machine learning going on, there's artificial intelligence, but it doesn't just have that natural instinct of what's going on. So now if you put yourself in the position of a search engine, you've just been given basically 5 words on a scrap of paper and someone said, purple dress, satin, bridesmaid. How do you know how that person's feeling? How do you know how quickly they want to buy it? How do you know the price point they're thinking of? You really don't. So as a user, you can understand that problem. So why do people expect a computer to be able to deal with it in the same way? And this is why I truly believe that the future of search isn't just on one platform, because you need to learn from all of your environment around you. So this is a warning. I'm going to use the word omnichannel. I'm really sorry. I hate myself every time I say it. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way. I'm not a horrible person. OK, so now we move on to the second sentence of how customers can really get what they're looking for. And this is where we're getting into the bit that I love. This is product discoverability. So really, you're looking at 3 platforms that we've got for retail at the moment. You've got mobile, you've got web, and then you've got real life, which is represented by apparently the littlest pet shop on my slides. So if you take yourself away from payments and you take yourself away from fashion for a bit, if you think about what we've seen in the payments industry recently. So we've seen places like Apple Pay, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. It's all moving towards that functionality of what you've got embedded on your mobile phone, which is a thumbprint, a retina scan. It's basically quick, it's easy, so that's what people like. When you look at payments that have succeeded on the web, it's very much PayPal. I'm wedded to my little box that I'm sitting in front of. I can't be bothered to move. I'm just going to log in and see what happens. And then you've got payments in the real world where it's either cash or it's contactless. And once again, laziness is pervasive, so contactless is winning it out. You can do this with things like food delivery. So once again, at the moment, companies like Deliveroo are really, really excelling because it's tapping into that core functionality of a mobile phone. So you've got your GPS, so you know what's around you. And once again, you've got that ease of payment with your thumb. If you look online, you've got review sites. So this is me being very diligent. If I'm sitting at a computer and I'm thinking about food, it's probably me researching rather than just being super hungry and weirdly roaming around with the laptop. And then you've got real life, where weirdly we seem to judge restaurants by typography, which I kind of find fascinating, but it's very much you're standing in front of a building, you're looking at a sign and wondering if the food's going to be any good, and when you do go in there, you're speaking to waiters. So now we move this back into fashion, and one of the things that annoys me the most when I'm speaking to clients is their need to put a Facebook button on everything and just say, everyone's just going to share it because we're amazing. And it's like, well, once again, if you put yourself into the shoes of a consumer, what are you actually going to do? So when you're looking at mobile, you're normally speaking to your friends. You're going to ask them, what's your opinion on this? And for that, the platform's WhatsApp. It's very much this kind of peer-to-peer messaging. Facebook Messenger, text messaging, all of those kind of things are really what's pervasive on mobile. Then you get to web. When you're shopping on the web, you're normally doing research. So you're either in front of the television and you're scrolling around, or you're actually reading editorial content. You're on InStyle magazine, you're on your favorite blogger, and that's what's really getting your attention. And then when you look in the real world, you're after a shared experience with your friends. So you're there, you're in the moment, you don't want to be sharing on Facebook because you're sharing with the people who are literally sitting right next to you. And then finally, we bring this back round to search. So on mobile, looking a bit like we did on payments and like we did on food, the bit of hardware that we have on mobile that we've never had before is the camera. So instead of poring over these tiny little keyboards, you can actually say, hey, get out my camera, take a photo. It could be of an item of fashion, it could be of the front of a restaurant to be able to get a review. It could be literally anything, and that's the most powerful tool, in my opinion. You'd worry if it wasn't, because I've wasted quite a lot of time on it. Then you've also got web, and traditional search is never going to die on the web, in my opinion. Google obviously does a cracking job of being able to just read your mind, and you can just type in anything. We're very good at typing now, so I can't see that ever fading out. And then we get into the real world, which is the bit that's actually beginning to change. I think that with all of these screens, it's the rise of the introvert. I'm kind of finally finding my place in the world, but no one really wants to talk to anyone anymore. It's great. You've got things like shop fittings, so like magic mirrors, where they can be giving you recommendations. You've got things like audio search, that you've seen that go through the roof in the past 2 years. And it's because people are just naturally engaging with this thing that's actually adding value into their life. So we don't really mind about the data that we're parting with when we're getting back that level of value. So this brings me round horribly to my conclusion around search, which is there's not going to be one winner, there's not going to be one pervasive technology, and there's not going to be one product, more importantly. So if you think about what a search journey could look like, is I'm a millennial, I'm reading a magazine, and I'm going to use visual search to try and find that dress that Emma Watson's wearing. So that visual search will open up around 20 options for me. And then as a user, I'm manually going to curate. So we haven't lost the ability to think as individuals. We don't want everything to be curated for us. I personally am going to consider my price point. I'm going to consider delivery times, who already has my payment details, and I'm going to shortlist it to about 3 items, which I'm going to add to my wish list. Then I'm walking past, let's say, Topshop. Something's in my wish list, and I've got my mobile phone on me because I'm wedded to it. It's in my pocket right now. The GPS is going, and it knows I've just walked past Topshop. It knows it's in my wish list, so it gives me a little push notification saying, hey, you're interested in this. Do you want to go and check it out in real life? So I walk into the store. I have to talk to someone. It's terrible, but I make the product selection, and I put it over my arm, and I take it to the fitting room. At this point, you can enter the fitting room. The barcode's scanned, you get in there, the mirror springs to life. It says, you're trying on this dress. Was it right for you? And I go, actually, I've just tried it on. I was a little bit disappointed. It asks you what was wrong. Was it the size? Was it the quality? Was it the color? Depending on what I say, let's say it's the color, I can tap into different bits of the algorithm that we've got, and it will show you similar items. So at that point, you say, hey, that one's quite cool. Can you bring it to my fitting room? And then, hey, presto, you've gone and bought it. And you've done all of that, by the way, by speaking to the mirror, because you don't want to get horrible, blurry fingerprints on it. You can just say, hey, bring it to me in a size 10. And then finally, you can check out using your fingerprint scanner, using retinal scanners, so you don't even have to queue anymore at the shop. You can just leave. It's all geofenced, so they don't think you've stolen anything horribly. That's always my fear when I leave a shop. I don't know why. I've never stolen anything, I promise. And then you've got the after-sales care, which is always something that's been overlooked in previous retail history. But this is where I think chatbots become really powerful. So if you've bought something, you've got a receipt, you only ever look at receipts when there's a problem, a chatbot could nudge you and say, hey, you're taking this back. Why don't you look at these alternatives? Here's something similar. Or actually, I know that you bought this last week. I'm a chatbot. I'm going to give you a horrible little nudge to say these shoes would go really nicely with it. So as you can see, it's this journey which has become ever pervasive. You haven't necessarily interacted consciously with a certain brand. You haven't set out to search for something. It's just been this organic journey powered by technology which has tapped into what you want to discover at that moment in time. So like I said earlier, in my opinion, the future of search isn't just one defined action on one system. It's very much going to be inbuilt into our lives in a non-creepy but nicely predictive way. So thank you for your time.